Hello everyone, this is Rodrin here with the first episode of the Minecraft Guide for Beginners, the tutorial series for new and returning Minecraft players to 1.16. In this episode, we are going to go over some very basics of starting a brand new Minecraft world. That way, if you guys want, you can play along at home. You can follow along with me as we go through this series. Now, the point of this series is to teach new players and returning players how to get up to speed in Minecraft 1.16. Now, Minecraft is not a hard game to learn how to play. It doesn't take too long to get comfortable with all the mechanics. So once we've covered all the basic mechanics, this series is going to kind of shift into showing you guys how I like to play and more of a, hey, this is possible type of series. Not so much you have to do this, but here are some things you could do. And also in this series, we will be designing 100% of all of our farms and redstone contraptions from scratch. So you will be able to learn farm design, redstone builds, and all that stuff right along with me. So without further ado, let's get in here and let's set up our world. So we're gonna be, I'm assuming that you've already downloaded and installed the Java edition of Minecraft and you've navigated your way to the main menu here. So we're gonna go ahead and click on the single player button. And I'm gonna call this Minecraft Guide for Beginners. And we're gonna go through and we're gonna set the difficulty to hard because I enjoy playing in hard difficulty. Now, don't worry, it's not as hard as it sounds. It's not like other games where hard is OMG impossible to play. Hard difficulty means that the mobs have a little bit more health, they hit a little harder, and certain other things happen versus easy or normal. You could play on normal, there's nothing wrong with that, but I think to get the full experience of Minecraft, you should start on hard difficulty and just learn to adjust as you go. We're going to be playing in survival mode because for me, survival mode has the absolute best played. I don't like the unlimited resources of creative mode. In fact, a large portion of the game that I enjoy about survival is setting up automatic gathering of resources, so it's like they're unlimitless, but you gotta work to get to that. We are going to be allowing cheats in this world just so I can demonstrate different commands and stuff. We're not going to be using this to spawn items or experience or all that stuff. Those will be off limits, but things like maybe changing time of day, just for convenience in creating content primarily, as well as showing you guys how to do command blocks and stuff like that you may want to do in your single player world. You may want to set up a command block teleporter system to move you around, you know? Next, we're going to go through the game rules. Now, I typically leave all of these as default, except for one rule, and that's going to be fire tick. So it's called update fire, and I'm going to turn that off because I don't want fire to spread. Because if fire's allowed to spread and you have like a lightning strike in a forest, and if you don't put that fire out, eventually that whole forest is going to burn up. And I'd rather not have huge chunks of my world burnt to a crisp. So we're going to turn that off, and we're going to leave pretty much everything else on. Now, one thing I can't stand is Enderman picking up blocks. And we could turn off allow destructive mob actions, but that will also prevent creepers from blowing up blocks and all that stuff. So we're going to leave that on, and maybe later we'll install a data pack to prevent Enderman from picking blocks up. And I'll do a tutorial on the data packs and how those work. We'll also cover resource packs too, which are items you can add to your own game client that will allow you to customize how the game looks from a player perspective. You can change things like your inventory or your HUD color scheme. You could turn it from a light scheme to a dark scheme. You could make your stuff in your offhand sit a little lower, and just those kind of things. We'll get to that in a future episode. Don't worry about it. Alrighty, advanced in-game time. Yes, we want to do the daylight cycle. Alright, so that's all good here. So now, under more world options, there's a spot here where we can put a seed in. What a seed is a string of numbers that dictate how the world generates. Every time you generate a world from the same seed, you get the exact same world. Every little detail is exactly the same if you use the same seed. So in this episode, I will be posting the world seed in the description of the videos. So if you want to generate the same exact world I'm playing from, you just copy that seed and paste it right into this box right here, and you will generate the exact same world that I am playing from, so you can follow along at home. So that means wherever I find diamonds, you'll find diamonds. Wherever I find ancient debris, you'll find ancient debris. We are going to generate structures, villages, and dungeons and stuff because that's a big part of the game. We don't want to turn that off. We are leaving world type as default, and we are turning off the bonus chest. We do not need a helping hand to start this. All right, so with all that said, that is our world settings. Let's go ahead and create the world. Now, Minecraft is a game of balancing priorities. On day one, there are three main priorities. We need either a shelter or a bed, we need food, and we need tools and weapons. So what the bed will do is allow us to skip the night phase of the game, which means that mobs won't spawn, which is good because we don't have anything to defend ourselves. And looking here, I am seeing plenty of sheep, which is necessary for making a bed. So right now I am holding down the W key to move my character forward. The S key will backpedal, A will strafe to the left, and D will strafe to the right. The mouse is used to point the camera to where I want to look. So that is basic movement. Now, if to jump, press the space bar, and then left shift will crouch, and while you're crouching you'll be sneaking, so you won't be necessarily drawing attention, you know, when we make as much noise and stuff. And it also will keep you from falling off edges. So let's leave this tree here, and let's go ahead and get that smaller tree over there. And looking around, this is actually a really nice spawn location. I like spawning in plain biomes like this because it's a relatively flat area that has a lot of good building opportunity, and we're surrounded by forests, it looks like. Plenty of birch, plenty of oak, so we have a good diversity of wood types right off the bat. Now to break this block, I'm holding down the left mouse button. And that's gonna punch the tree and break the block. And you'll notice that down the bottom of the screen in the center, there's this grid of squares. That's called your hotbar. Any item you pick up, if there's open space in your hotbar, it will go there first. Otherwise, it'll go into your inventory, which you can bring up by pressing the E key. And also in your inventory window, you get to see, you see we have a small 2x2 crafting interface, which will allow us to make basic things like planks and a crafting table. The crafting table is important because it allows us to access a 3x3 crafting grid, which is important for making tools, weapons, armor, and every other item in the game. Most items in the game require a crafting table. So let's go ahead and grab a couple more logs here. We're going to turn those logs into planks. Then we're going to take these 2 sticks and 3 planks like that, and we're going to create an axe. So now we have a tool and / a weapon. It's time for us to gather 3 wool blocks and 3 planks to make a bed. So, Mr. Sheeps, I'm sorry, but this has to be done. Now you may be asking why I didn't create a sword to hunt the sheeps with, and it's because in the early stages of the game, an axe does 7 attack damage. And a sword doesn't do nearly as much damage. All right, so we've killed 3 sheep, we've got 3 wool and 5 uncooked mutton. So that mutton's gonna be useful for us once we cook it up. And now we're gonna put 3 planks and 3 wool. Now the way I did that was I picked up the wool on my cursor by left clicking on it, and then over here I'm holding down the right mouse button, and I'm just arrowing over those squares to drop 1 in each square. Then we have our bed, so we'll put that down right there. So when the sun starts going down, we can right click on our bed, sleep there, and it will skip the nighttime, which means hostile monsters or mobs won't spawn. We can also right click on the bed to set our respawn point. So it says down in the lower left there, respawn point set. So the next time we die, we will re-enter the game world right here. All right, let's go ahead and let's get the rest of this tree knocked down, because leaving floating trees, it's one of those unwritten Minecraft rules violations, you know? Never leave floating trees. All right, so our next goal, we have a bed. We have a little bit of food. We need a means by which we can cook the food. So I'm gonna go ahead and craft a wooden pickaxe so we can harvest cobblestone. So 2 sticks and then 3 planks creates a wooden pickaxe. Now I'm just gonna kind of go around and look to see if there's maybe an open cave exposed somewhere that I can drop down and get some stone. There's a little bit of stone underneath this water, but if you're in water, ooh, there's iron right there too. Iron will be very useful for us in a little bit. If you're in water like this, first off, notice the bubbles that popped up on the screen? That's your oxygen indicator. The longer you spend underwater, the more oxygen you deplete, and when that bar runs out, you start taking damage. So notice I'm standing up here. I'm no longer, my head is above water, so I'm able to breathe, so the bar refilled and disappeared. And since my head's not underwater, I can mine at normal speeds. Underwater, you may have noticed that it takes a lot longer to break that block. So there we go. So now we have 3 cobblestone. We're gonna go and actually create ourselves a cobblestone pickaxe. And we're gonna go back to looking for a cave that can get us down, like right about here. It's still so full of water everywhere. And see, we have some andesite and stone here that's above the water that we can grab. But we'll keep looking around a little bit here. We'll come back to here. We'll convert that to planks. We'll make sticks with 2 planks stacked on top of each other, yielding 4 sticks. Then 2 sticks and 3 cobblestone gives us a stone pickaxe. Now, as we move up from materials from wood to stone to iron to diamond, what happens is that the durability increases. As you can see on these guys, we've used these tools a little bit, so they've taken some damage. When a tool runs out of durability, when this bar fully depletes here, the tool will break and we'll have to replace it. Now, there are enchantments in the game that will delay that process, or that can be used to convert XP to mend or repair the tools. Ooh, look at this. We have a nice little cave here. Kind of dead ends, but it does expose a nice little rock face. So we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna grab 8 cobblestone here. And notice how much faster the stone pickaxe is at breaking these blocks versus the wooden pickaxe. All right, is there any coal here? No. Coal's important because it's gonna allow us, because right now we're gonna be cooking making a furnace. And that will allow us to smelt materials, cook food, etc., etc. So why is food important in this game? Well, if you notice down above my hotbar, you'll see there's this 1 bar to the left of hearts, and to the right there's this other little bar of ham bones or haunches, or almost kind of looks like wine glasses to me a little bit. That indicates your hunger level. As you get hungrier, that bar will deplete. If the bar depletes down too far, you lose access to the sprint ability. And in hard difficulty, if it runs out, you start taking damage and you can starve to death. So sprinting is accomplished by, what I do is I usually move forward, then I tap the left control button, and it makes me run a little bit faster. That's sprinting. And the more you sprint, the faster your food depletes. And then if you're down to your last 3 bars on your hunger bar, I believe you lose access to sprinting at that point. So it's important that we maintain a food supply so that A, we don't starve to death, and B, we keep access to our sprint ability. So let's go ahead and put our furnace down right there. And now we don't have any coal, but we do have planks. So we can use planks or any wood to fuel this furnace. We can also use our wooden tools to fuel the furnace as well. And as you can see, we now have a piece of cooked mutton that we can eat to restore our hunger bar. So now we've accomplished our first day goals. We have food, we have a bed, we have stone tools and wood tools. The only thing we don't have yet is a weapon. So let's go ahead and let's craft a weapon. So let's do a sword. That way we can look at an axe versus a sword. So a sword is going to take 1 stick and then two of the material the sword's going to be made out of to form the blade. So in this case, we're making a stone sword. So we use 2 cobblestone on top of 1 stick in our crafting table. And looks like that is out already. I'm going to hold on to that axe just for a little bit yet. Let's see, we can put 1 more plank in here to finish cooking off that mutton. So let's take a look at the stats here. So this sword has 5 attack damage and 1.6 attack speed. So that means if you attack once, you have to wait 1.6, I believe that's seconds, before you can attack again and do full damage. Oh, the sun is starting to go down here. So as we can see, the sun is starting to move down towards the horizon. So we're going to go ahead and right click on our bed here. And if we're fast enough, we can sleep and prevent mobs from spawning, which is something that we really want to do here. And we got the advancement Sweet Dreams. And the day has turned into night, and the night has turned into day. We're all set to go on day 2 here. So we've covered a lot of information in this very first episode. But I think that if you've gone through this and you've kind of kept up, you should have enough information now to get started on your own survival world. We've discussed how to move around the world and how to interact with the world. We've looked at crafting, some basic stuff. We looked at cooking food up here. We've looked at gathering up basic different supplies. We've built a bed to be able to sleep the night away. Now, a bed also has another very important function. There's a mob in the game called phantoms that are flying mobs that deal a lot of attack damage. If you don't sleep for 3 Minecraft days, the phantoms will come after you. So by sleeping, you also prevent phantoms from coming after you as well. And so that's why a bed is it's important. Now, let's say we spawn in an area that didn't have sheep, right? What would we do then? Well, we obviously aren't going to make a bed in the very first day because the daytime cycles don't last that long. So what we would have done is we would have come down to this little cave here, and we would have taken some dirt blocks and built this up a little wall here. And this would have been our main shelter during the night. And normally, if I'm not going to sleep through the night, I'll spend the nighttime digging out mining out stone and coal and what have you there. Let's see, so before we finish up this episode, I do want to show how to make torches. Torches are going to be very important for lighting up dark areas. Now, mobs can spawn during the day if the area is dark. Like, we can hear a zombie right now. So in caves where there's no light, mobs will spawn during the day. So we want to make sure that we light these caves up, so the mobs can't spawn in there and then find their way to the surface to come get us. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put a log up on top and a log on bottom. And that's going to smelt into charcoal, which we'll combine with a stick then to make 4 torches. Like such, and boom, 4 torches. Now, this little book icon here will show you all the recipes you've learned. So we've discovered all these recipes already. And we just basically click on that and we want to make, and it'll show us the materials we need. Now we can filter this book down to just what we have the materials to craft on us, which case is planks and buttons only. So if you want to click a button, make a button, you click on it, and it loads up the plank here, and you just click that to make your button. But it would do some good for you to memorize the most common recipes. So like a furnace is 8 cobblestone. And chest is 8 planks, type of thing. So we're just going to go down here. We're going to put down a few torches down here and see what this cave looks like. There. So now, I'm actually going to turn my brightness up a bit here, because the default is a little dark. There. Makes it a little bit easier to see what's going on. So now, if you push the F3 button on your keyboard, this brings up the debug screen. And if we point our cursor at a block, we can see where it says client light and then server light. We can see the block that we're pointing at currently has a light level of 9. Mobs need a light level less than 7 to spawn. So as long as every block in this area has a light level higher than 7, mobs can no longer spawn in this area. So just one more thing to keep in mind. We'll go over that again in the future, because I know this is a lot of information for episode 1. And we'll definitely be repeating this information in future episodes. So don't worry if you didn't quite grasp it all. And if you have any questions, feel free to hit the comments section and let me know. I'm more than happy to answer questions in the comments as long as you guys are more than happy to ask them. So let's just recap here so far what all we've done in episode 1. We've started a world. We've and then in the lower left corner there is the world seed. I will be posting that in the description, so don't worry about trying to write it down from the video. We started a world. We've talked about basic controls, how to move around. WASD based movement. We've talked about the E key for bringing up your inventory. One thing we didn't mention was the Q button. Q is used for throwing things onto the ground, which can become useful if you're trying to, for various scenarios in the future. We're not going to get too deep into that right now. The left mouse button is used to break blocks and attack. And the right mouse button is used to place and interact with objects. So if you want to interact with your crafting table, you right click on the crafting table. For the furnace, you right click on that to open it up and interact with that. We've talked about creating basic tools out of wood and stone. We've talked about crafting beds and how mobs spawn and how a bed can allow you to bypass the night, preventing mobs from spawning. And I think we've fully equipped you to go ahead and start exploring the world of Minecraft. Create a few worlds, check out some spawn areas, and just take note of areas that you like and don't like. And in the next episode, we'll be working out some renewable food sources for our world. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Every subscriber is appreciated. It's helped me get these videos out to more Minecraft players that might need them. If you thought this episode was entertaining, informative, and educational, hit the thumbs up button. Let me know that you enjoyed it. Any questions, hit the comments up down below and ask away. And I will see you all in the next episode. Goodbye.